Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Relationship Matters or Relationships Matter. And today we have a new topic, as usual. Our topic today is how to build a secure relationship or how to build secure relationships in general. We will be talking about what does it mean to be secure, how things become insecure, and so forth. And then we can close with how to make it secure. Stick around. All right, so how would you guys like to start with um, our talk or talk? What is a secure relationship? Okay, who would like to give it a shot? What is a secure relationship? And what is not a secure relationship? So, a secure relationship is what? Is to feel secure in your relationship. And how does that like?
Guess I used to think personally that you feel all the positive emotions, that means you are in a happy relationship.
So, if you have the positive emotions, then you are in a happy relationship. Okay?
I guess that perspective change over time.
That's how you used to think. And now that perspective changed. Yeah.
I guess now to how to surf the wave of up and down.
How to?
Surf the wave of up and down.
How to surf the waves of up and down. Okay. Oh, I see. So collaborating with the partner on how to surf the ups and downs in the relationship. All right. All right. So now, how is that in reference to secure relationship?
Perspective of a very secure relationship. Surfing out and in terms of emotion and in terms of other maybe facets of life. Let's say planning to buy a house, then how do you deal with the finances together?
So how do you? Okay. So how do you summarize that in reference to having the ability to go through the ups and downs brings that secure sense of secure or sense of security in the relationship. Anyone would like to elaborate on that? Hmm. Okay, I can rephrase that. What makes what you just said relate to secure relationship? Hmm.
To me, that is the definition.
That is how is the definition of secure relationship, which is
Being
being on
on
the same page,
in terms of managing up
managing ups and downs together. Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing that. Who else would like to give it a shot? Anyone?
and there's a lot of trust in the relationship.
When there's a lot of trust in the relationship. Okay? What's a lot of trust? How do you, I mean, how is someone can find out if they have a lot of trust or little trust or somewhat kind of trust?
When you don't question everything
You don't question everything.
and then you trust that the other person is making the right decision.
And trusting your partner or the husband, the wife, the father, the mother, the sibling, they are doing or they're taking the right decision. Hmm. Okay. All right. So that, how does that relate to the definition or your understanding of a secure relationship?
You have an insecure relationship. You don't trust the other person.
Oh, so you're saying the fact that you're trusting the other person, that is sufficient to give the perception that it is secure, that you're trusting the other person. All right. All right. Thank you all for sharing that. Anyone would like to comment on what you guys just heard about different definitions of trust? So we need to stay focused here. You can take it out. So so the sense of security, trust is definitely part of it, a big part of it, having that trust. And I would say trust is either there or it's not fully there, because if it's there, then it's full. There's not a lot of trust. I mean, it's just that there is trust, right? So that's when we say that when the trust is in a relationship, something can happen to reduce the sense of trust, or the strength of trust, or the health of trust. So that could be by trusting someone and they end up doing the wrong thing, or betraying you, or cheating, or taking advantage of you, or doing things without you knowing, and then you get shocked. It's like, whoa, I trusted you all this time, and this has been happening behind my back. So trust is the most fragile part of any relationship. If trust is not solid, the relationship is in danger. And that's really, and trust happens from behaviors. The trust either improves from behaviors or it reduces because of behaviors. So trust is quite a big part of that sense of security. Now, what I heard also, the earlier definition or the earlier thought, is that the being together, doing things together, that brings that sense of security. That also is a good indicator of the good relationship and the health of the relationship. It's just that it's not the only thing, right? It has to have more things to bring that secure connection with your partner, with the parent, with your sibling, with your co-worker, and so forth. So therefore, having that secure relationship, it takes two. So it's not just me doing it with someone else, doing the activities and the challenges and up and down, doing it with someone else, but it's really important to have that someone else is doing it the same way I'm doing it, not because I'm doing it. Does that make sense? Meaning that they do not, so the other person needs to be there, present, fully, invested fully in the relationship, for the sake of the relationship and for the love of the other person. So what happens most of the time is the other person does things on your behalf because they think that's what you want. And we see that a lot with parents. I mean, that's just the general and the most common example, is because they love their children so much, they do things for their children even though the child might not understand it. But there is really not enough time is built, not enough time is spent to build that connection with trust and to be that partner for your son or daughter to feel that you are that you are the support, that you are a partner, that you are a companion in their growth. But they see you as an authority and they just have to follow, and they cannot utter a word to express their needs. So they grow up expecting other people to tell them what needs to be done, and they have difficulties expressing their needs. It becomes very foreign. It is very foreign, and becomes very hard for them to do that. Even if one of the partner is expressing their need to their own partner, it's going to be very uneasy and it's very discomforting for them to say what they need. They only focus on the other person. And that is short-lived. And for that reason, we always encourage people to build that security within in order to make that relationship secure. Because if I feel secure, I can bring that security into the relationship. If, yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. So I'll let you finish your thought, but that's not exactly what I was saying. It's not you bringing the security to the other person. You're bringing the security to the relationship. I cannot bring any emotions to other people. When I do something, when I say something, the other person has emotions. It's coming from their background. I am not making them feel, right? If I feel secure, I cannot make them feel secure, but I can bring that security into the relationship for them to feel secure, to eventually feel that I am bringing that stable stable ground for them. Please continue. Yeah.
Say if say I'm a secure person, can the person be secure?
If you are a secure person, not really. Not really. Because if you are a secure person and you're invested in the relationship, you will be the rock for that relationship. You will eventually your persistence and perseverance will pay off towards the end, because the other person will be relying on your stability, on your collectedness to connect with you, because you're collected, you are stable. So they are maybe unstable, but they always come to you. And that's why when children act up, I don't know if there was a really interesting video the other day I saw. The child is throwing a tantrum in a store because the child wanted to have something and mommy said no. Then he threw a tantrum, lied on the floor, pounding his legs, and then the mom did the same thing. Did you see that? It's a really powerful message for the child. The child stopped being and started looking at his mom. It's like, whoa, that's how I look? So by bringing that stable, connection to the relationship, the child will always come to you. But when they see you're not stable, they were like, wait a minute, I'm in danger. I need to check this out. So that took the attention of the child. Like, wait a minute, your mom is throwing a tantrum. She's not stable. It's like, whoa, what am I supposed to do? So the child was in total confusion, and therefore that's why the video was quite strong. So if the other person is unstable, no, not necessarily or insecure, does not make you insecure, but it can make you tired, it can make you frustrated, it can make you feel like unheard, you can make you feel all these other emotions that come to you, but these are just emotions. They're not really real, right? It's not a real thing. It's just an emotion that is based on our interpretation of that behavior. But actually, when we focus on the behavior itself, we continue to support back. We're not going to withdraw, because that's what emotion intelligence is all about. It's really, when we understand the emotion, we need to understand what is our contribution to that emotion, because that emotion is coming from us. So therefore, we need to recalculate and readjust that emotion, reframe it, and it becomes a driver for us to be a better connector to our child, to our partner, to our friends, and so forth. Because I can easily have my friends can accuse me of something. I can be triggered and get defensive, or I can be the stable person and absorb it. But that doesn't mean that I'm in danger of being insecure. Insecurity comes within. Does that answer your question? Okay. So the challenge with the secure person is when you are in a toxic relationship with someone who is gaslighting. If we're talking about that, the gaslighting relationship or the narcissistic type of relationship, they can put doubts inside you. So it's not about security anymore. It's about believing yourself. So putting doubts is different than feeling secure. Does that make sense? So it does impact us and our perception, but it does still make us feel secure. because that's going to help us to remove the doubt, to make us really figure out how to deal with a person who has a narcissistic trait or is a gaslighter, right? So that's going to help us to bring the light instead of being gaslit. Any other thoughts or questions? So what is it to be secure then in a relationship? Is to bring that security within into the relationship, and then that security will bring what? Stability, longevity to the other person. At least the other person would see you as a stable person. So that can cause the other person to overact and take you for granted, or can mirror and start to learn from you. But if they overreact or overact and they take you for granted, then you need to be fair to yourself. You can have that security to communicate to the other person and to set boundaries. I really love you, but you cannot talk to me like that. I need you to have respect for me. I need you to stop yelling at me. So these are the things that would help the other person to get an idea where to stop, where to draw the boundaries. And if they continue to break the boundary, just like a child, no, you cannot do that. No, you cannot do that. No, you just basically repeat. Persistency and consistency. The same message, you just repeat it. I'm sorry, you get in a relationship if you're stable yourself.
I'm wounded and I got to relationship, hoping the relationship will heal me in some way.
Oh, you're wounded from a previous relationship?
Maybe could be from previous relationship, can be wounded since you're a child growing up.
Okay, so there's an old wound, quote unquote, that is within the person, and then they feel like when I'm in a relationship, that wound is gonna be healed. All right.
So I like to challenge that.
Challenging that is healthy. Yeah. So what I'm understanding is that challenging that, meaning that not believing that's gonna be the case. Is that what I'm hearing? Yeah. So if you have an emotional wound or a child, an experience mood, a memory mood, wound, sorry, not mood, but wound from the past relationship, and even if it's a childhood, it's actually a relationship with the parents or relationship with siblings, could be a wound from relationship with teachers and classmates and so forth. So that emotional wound that is old will not be fixed by building a new relationship, unfortunately, unless that new relationship is investing in healing that wound. Because just having that relationship is not going to be sufficient. Yeah. And that's a one-sided healthy relationship. It's going to help the relationship to stay stable. And if that person is not investing in healing the other person, it's not going to work out. It's not going to be easy moving forward. It's going to still, so what could happen is that the other person, the stable one, might run out of gas, might be drained emotionally, energy, and they just feel, when is it going to be about me? It's always about you. So I'm supporting, and then what? So that is a possibility, and that's the reason why couples resort to that, because they see that in TV. They see that's the norm. When people in a relationship, you're just like, whoa, whatever I'm doing, you need to do for me, and all that stuff. So the culture that we're living, the global culture we're living in, is making that a norm. But if you're looking at 100 years ago, the norm was totally different. And the norm was specific to that culture who didn't know cross cultures. We didn't know, like a couple in China didn't know what couples in Alaska used to do. But now, with a click of a button, you can see how people are coping with these differences and all that. So the more we see that, the more it becomes quote unquote the norm. And if that is the norm, then I need that for me. And that's going to cause me to focus on when is it going to be about me, as opposed to I'm here to support. I'll stick to my role. I'll support my partner. I'll support my children. I'll support my team. And I'm happy with that. But I'm also balancing it with my needs. I don't need them to give me that feeling, because that would make me dependent on them to make me feel a way or another. Because, as I mentioned, feeling security comes within. Feeling happy comes within. Feeling what? Feeling congruent comes within. But if I'm not able to reach that, I need help. I need to figure out how am I supposed to do that, because we never learned it. So that's why you need professionals to help you to learn how to process emotions. Emotions are there, but it doesn't mean that we need to believe them. There's a purpose for emotions. It's not for us to dwell on them and cry and feel victimized all the time because I feel negative. Well, no, it's not. That's not how, it's not the purpose of emotions. Emotions are there for a purpose, but that's not the purpose. But since we never learned how to deal with emotions, because my dad is so busy with work, I never saw him. My mom is so busy with cooking or busy with work, and I never saw her. And I was raised by a maid, or I was raised by my aunt. I don't even know how to be a parent. So therefore, I don't know how it is to be in a relationship. So therefore, we never learned how to do it the right way. And that's why we are guessing. We are in a guessing mood, and we try to figure it out. And it's a 50-50 chance for it to work. All right. Any other thoughts or questions? So how do we help it to be to be able to enable people to build that secure relationship? Step number one. How do we start helping people to build that secure relationship? Number one, recognize what? Sorry, recognize what about the relationship that? What is about the relationship that needs security? Okay, so recognize is a good word. It's just that we need to recognize that there is insecurity in the relationship. We need to recognize that. We need to acknowledge that. And that's the first step. The second step is that when we acknowledge it, we need to accept the fact that it's not a great feeling to acknowledge that. We need to acknowledge that it's insecure, and it's going to make us feel vulnerable by expressing that it's an insecure relationship. That's going to make us feel vulnerable because the partner needs to respond. Now, the partner has a role as well. The partner needs to not jump into finding solutions. That's very common. Let's fix it. I'll make sure you don't feel that way. It's like, no, you cannot do that. So for the partner also to journey with the first person through the acknowledgement of feeling insecure or having an insecure relationship. So if I am in a relationship that I feel I feel insecure, I need to express that, and I need to acknowledge that it's going to make me feel vulnerable when I express that. And now the partner needs to also contribute by acknowledging with me my acknowledgement. Without, whether they agree or not, that doesn't matter. They need to stay with me to support me with my perception, without correcting me on how to feel and how not to feel, without telling me solutions. We just need to, first step is acknowledge. Second step, how can we help people to build that secure relationship. Second step is what? Working on yourself first. Working on my insecurity in the relationship. I don't know how to do that. Go to therapy. Yeah. Well, I mean, that is helpful. It's just that we need people to start really try to invest in themselves a little bit before they reach out to therapy, because therapy can help them, but maybe they can do it without therapy. Maybe. Don't know. Because we don't know how insecure they feel in the relationship, because the partner can be giving that ability to support the first person to feel the needed security. What's the next step? Talk about it. Communicate. And it doesn't have to be fixed in a day or two. It can be lingering for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months. But talking about it can bring understanding. And that's really what's important. We talk about it to bring understanding. Before we solution it, we need to understand it. And if we understand it, then we can start solutioning it. We can try to figure it out. We can try to understand what is it that the other person is doing and what is it that I am doing that is contributing to that feel of insecurity. Only then, or I should say then and only then, we can start solutioning. And solutioning is never one way or another. It's never one solution. It's a collaborative discussion to come up with a solution. It could be between a parent and a child. They need to collaborate on how to bring that security. It can be just like a very old story. A man was approached by his son, or was it by his daughter, and said, "Dad, how much do you make per hour at work?" And I said, "I make $100 per hour." And then, like a few months later, the daughter came back and she said, "Dad, here's $100. I want you to spend an hour with me." So, I mean, that story is just basically saying that having that time with the child is sometimes more important than putting bread on the table from the child's perspective. But it doesn't mean that you quit your job to sit with your child. It's just, as a parent, as an adult, you need to be able to bring in that security to your child when he feels or when she feels insecure. Or mom, the same thing. So it's not always about discipline and punishment that fixes your child. Love and care and connection can be easily and much more happily done to make that connection solid and secure. Same thing with couples, same thing with married couples and couples who are in a relationship, same thing with siblings. Bringing that sense of security is priceless, and it can be fun. It doesn't need to be always directive, but you can initiate it by bringing that security to your younger sibling, to your older sibling, to your dad, to your mom. You can establish that. If you feel that you're the secure person in a relationship, you can definitely initiate that. So it's not always the older or the other person needs to start it. You can start it. Anyone can start it. Any last thoughts or questions before we end the talk today? Is that it? How was the talk? I'm seeing a lot of faces and deep thoughts, if I'm interpreting the faces correctly. And that's an assumption, really. All right, we'll stop it here. If you guys have any questions or comments, put them below. Until Until next week, right? Next week? Are we here next week? I guess we should be, right? Next week is a holiday, isn't it? No, the week after. Next week is the holiday. Okay. Well, we're gonna be here, and if you have the time, check us out. Until then, stay happy.